Hey everybody out there, so today for you guys, I've been not wanting to talk about this on the channel for a while because I wanted to get my thoughts clearly and I wanted to wait and see how things played out. And I've kind of, I don't want to say I'm angry, I'm upset, I just say I'm frustrated. And I want to give you my biases about short prints in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is going to be today's topic. But I want to tell you how we're going to break this down. I'm going to tell you my thoughts initially, my bias, the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And short prints, because it actually has been going on for quite some time. And also just talking about going forward into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And instances in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Of this happening more and more and more. And how it really just makes me more frustrated and upset with Konami. And first off, I would say that by starting this statement out and talking about this is, for the most part in 2019, I love the way Konami handled things. I feel like they've reached out to the community more and more. We know reasons, like in the Japanese OCG, they even gave reasons for why they hit cards. Now, granted, they're not the best reasons, but they are reasons nonetheless. Remember the last OCG ban list that came out? They actually gave reasons for why they hit cards, or they brought cards back. They never done that before. I don't care what they did, but they were trying to communicate, this is why we did this. May not be the best reason, but they gave reasons. That's good. You've also seen them working with YouTubers more. That's good. You also have seen them create content areas for the last year and a half for people to film at. That's good. You see them getting more in touch with just the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community in general. You see in the OCG, you get to vote on stuff. Oh, we would like to see a Shajal structure deck. Oh, and the second place one is also going to get its own structure deck, the Sacred Beast. Oh, which archetype would you like to see be created in, the next AKA Battles of Legend for us over here? On the OCG, it's I think the anniversary pack. But you see what I'm trying to say here. They're interacting with the community, and they've done great at that. We've even started to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! Products coming out in the TCG. It's been amazing. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is growing and doing so well. However, short prints in North America, it grinds my gears really, really hard, because I love everything we've done. I love when we're getting all this old support. I love the fact that we're supporting different characters from the Yu-Gi-Oh! History, different old school strategy decks. Yes, they will not all be meta, but they'll be fun, competitively viable, quote unquote. You get what I'm trying to say here. I love that fact. It's amazing. It's awesome. But when Konami short prints things, it makes me upset. And I will admit, this has been a thing that's been going on for a long period of time in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Don't let anybody tell you that short prints have just started recently happening within the last 4 to 5 years. I think people, the first time they were mentioned short prints was the Brionac cards, the Necros cards, like Necros Brionac. Well, remember that was one in 2 in every case, or 1 in every case. It was something ridiculous when it first initially got out, and that stuff was very expensive. My bag is about to fall and make a noise, so be prepared to hear a noise in the background. But yeah, remember that's what people feel like short prints really happen when I talk to people. But this is not the case. This has been going on for a long part of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. If we look back at the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, we actually had something called short print commons. What are short print commons, you mean? These were common cards. Your basic common cards that you get in a pack. That would be less. You would maybe get 1 in every box, or 2 in every box out of all the commons you would get. And this would happen. You get a box, you maybe get 1 of them, possibly 2, in every single box. It was short printed. It may be a good card, it may be a fun joke card, it may be just a card that's not that good. The same thing continues if you look throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history, for the most part, of, I would say, up until at the end of Astral Packs, when we would get these imported random commons, vanilla monsters with these cool flavor texts and these fusions that would go with them. If you look at Astral Packs, you look at, I think, maybe tournament packs, you look at turbo packs, you'll notice these random commons that maintain a value of $3-4, and you're like, why does that maintain a value? Why does said fusion that no one plays with instant fusion worth some money and only has 1 printing? Well, if you guys know history of Yu-Gi-Oh, you'll know that Konami started importing random commons and random fusions that were out for the OCG back way back in the day. They started importing these in tournament packs, and they were short print commons. This is perfectly fine. We started to see later on in Yu-Gi-Oh's history maybe a short print rare. You get one of these rares maybe in every box or every other box. Didn't mean it was a great card. Sometimes they were decent cards, but they weren't like gonna be more than probably a couple bucks usually. It just made them a little more valuable, and you got more bang for your buck. Cool, that's fine. We even saw, sometimes instances, I would say, to my knowledge and recollection, we started to see things like this starting to happen with hollows and whatnot in the GX era, especially. Especially when you get into the 5Ds era, later 5Ds era, when we have Tour Guide coming out and things of this nature. I remember Tour Guide upon initial release, it was a little bit harder to pull a Tour Guide. Another thing I should mention is, if you want to consider this a short print hollow rarity, is back in the day, if you guys remember things, a good example here was where we used Pharaoh's Servant. In Pharaoh's Servant, I believe it was the name of the set, you could get Imperial Order or Jinzo. You could only get Jinzo, I believe it was, from a tournament box, like it was a 48 pack box, the bigger boxes, if you went to like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament store. If you went to a retail store, you could pull Imperial Order. Makes sense? So you could consider that maybe short print, because you could get one secret here and one secret there, but you couldn't get both of them. So saying that, that's pretty much the history of short prints up into the present day. You start to see some hollows be shorter printed, maybe a super rare, a little bit printed less than the others. This was a normal thing you've seen throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. However, I will admit I didn't really start hearing the word short print until we get to the Necros, and when we get to that set that they initially came out of. Necros, when they came out, if you guys are remembering this, if you know your Yu-Gi-Oh history, they were very sought after. I won't say they were one of the best decks since Dragon Rulers, because you also have at that time Shaddolls, BA, Stellar Knights were still around, and you had like Quipulse was still around, I think, at the time. You had all these other decks, but they were very sought after. And at this point in time, and even in the 5Ds era, you look at when Hidden Arsenal started coming out, you start to see Konami with certain hollows, sorry for my phone going off, print less of them. And it's something very interesting if you actually pay attention to. They would, maybe like a Trishula, for example, would not get as printed. Maybe you got one in every 3 boxes, one in every 4 boxes, one a case maybe. But it's, maybe 2 a case, something like that. But it wasn't like super drastic, and shortly after you would reprint the card again, perhaps, or they would limit the card and the price would go down and it would be more affordable. But you started to see them short print-ish cards in these side sets like Hidden Arsenal, and when we get to Hidden Summoners, I believe it was called, where I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was Hidden Summoners. Somebody will comment me down in the comment section, right? But when you start to get to the Necro set, you'll notice that side sets it becomes more and more prevalent as we're entering the modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I noticed this a lot. And then we started seeing other sets happen. This is happening more and more. And then we get to the legendary Duelist sets. Konami rebranded these from the Duelists, I think, other sets in the past, but these were mainly, Legendary Duelists when it initially came out was pretty much for non-competitive decks. You saw some intertwining with Duel Links cards these sets were kind of made for casual decks, and they would eventually come out on Duel Links sometimes. But they weren't, they weren't really competitively viable. You saw them start to print out more cards, and I remember like the first time this started happening was with Red Eyes stuff. There wasn't a lot of good stuff besides the Red Eyes Hollows. They came out, they were harder to pull, still could pull them, but a little bit harder to pull. And then you start to see that, I think it was the Blue Eye set after that, you see Bingo Machine Go-Go. It was like 1 or 2 you got. out of a set. And then I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. This is cool. I remember we would get a case at the shop I worked at, and we would get 3 Bingo Machine Go-Go's. So it wasn't short printed. It was just like some certain areas. It seemed like in the country it was a little bit short printed. And we never really, I mean, we've seen sometimes short prints happen in main course sets, but it's not as prevalent, I would say. You usually, like I said, and this is very important, you see them in side sets happening too. And then we get to the last legendary set we had with the Destiny Heroes. You know which ones I'm talking about. Now, the Millennium Eyes Restrict, prior to this, about a year ago, was a little bit harder to pull. Toon Kingdom was a short print rare. Cool. The Crystal Beast card, a little bit more expensive. Shorter printed. And you could tell this, you could see this. But we get to that set when you have a card that is, heroes are competitive. Maybe not the best deck, but they're competitive. And they short print those cards. What happens? Price goes really up. Causes problems. And if you look currently, and like I said, I'm recording this before we know what short prints are happening, before we know what. I'm just telling you what I'm looking on pre-orders. And it's retarded because people don't know. They're afraid which cards are going to get short printed. Like, you have Magician's Soul, for Pete's sake. Now, I'll admit, I got them for $70. Excuse me, I have the money. But I want to profile the decks for you guys. I need the cards, so I'll probably get them and then sell them off. So, whatever. If I lose a couple bucks, it's no skin off my nose. I just want to help the channel out. But when you see it, and you see people buying them for $85 and $90 and $100 a snap on pre-order because they feel like Konami's going to short print it, and because it's a competitive card that can be used with spirals, it gets to a point when you start to see pre-sales and people are just not listing cards because they're concerned which cards are going to be short printed. That's how much that set really caused short prints to go off. It's been a problem. As you can see, as I talked about, it's happened for many years. It's gone on for many years. And it's just recently, I would say in the last year or so, gotten really noticeable and really bad. Because people are starting to pay with their wallets. And when people start paying a lot of money for cards with their wallets, they start to get angry and start to speak up more. Hopefully, Konami doesn't short print things, but I'm very doubtful of that. And hopefully, I don't know what to say. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. They're a company, but it's just annoying. And it's the one thing, if you ask me, I wish Konami would change, is that. Time rules, I've got to live with. Short prints, I have not gotten used to yet. With extraordinary prices of price gouging from the community. It's annoying. So, tell me your thoughts down below of short prints, guys. What do you think? Is there a way to solve this problem? We'll have to wait and see. Till next time, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, guard your wallets, and pray Konami doesn't hurt you too badly. Take care, everybody. Good luck dueling to all of you, and I'll see you guys next time.